me something, Uncle Money?
I know you probably had your business already set up, but for somebody who wants to start their practice in the state of Georgia, what are the practical steps you recommend they take to help set them up for success?
Well, that's a great question because I used to do that in Michigan. We had the Lansing Black Lawyers, and one of the things I did is help solo practitioners set up their own, start their practice. What things can I do? What do I need now? What's made it so much easier now? Like I have two paralegals that work for me, and I have a legal assistant, an intern, but you don't need office space anymore. My paralegals, I send them out what I need for them. One of them files paperwork for me, the other one does contracts for me. So you just send them what you need, and then they send it back to you. It's almost like they're working next door, anyway. And if we need to really talk face to face, we can do exactly what you and I are doing right now. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that you need them to do is to make sure that they measure and monitor expenses and receipts.
Okay.
So if you're not willing to do that every day, forget it. You can't come back and say, "Oh, I've done 10 things," and then also to measure your own hours. Mm-hmm. Now, I talked to them about two things too. That is, you want to practice in the areas that you're good at, mm-hmm. and it's easy to measure that. I'm good at criminal law, hands down. I can do criminal law with no problem. Okay. And the things that you like. I like family law. I like divorce work. I like doing probate stuff. I like doing child custody because I think I have a kind of a working for the government, kind of a service, and I like to talk to people and get them to understand the benefits of certain things. Okay. So that's the advice I would give to people. If you're going to go out on your own, don't just take everything. Yeah. Don't take everything. Find out. Now, you might end up doing everything because once you get good and get your practice going, you might want to slip off into something else. But at the beginning, the things that you're good at, the things that you like, those are the key fundamentals of having your own practice.
So what about profitability for somebody who wants to start their own practice? There's certain practice areas that pay more than others. Mm-hmm. If you're doing a simplified will, that's not going to pay as much as maybe a real estate transaction, possibly. Mm-hmm. So what areas do you feel like, bring in good money for somebody going out independently? Because I think it's different from a large firm structure versus an independent. Which one brings in most money?
Well, as you mentioned, I learned how to do divorces real well, right? I was good at divorces. When I was a young attorney, it was really funny. I wouldn't do a divorce unless two things: that you had gone to counseling, mm-hmm. and you really were going to go through a divorce, yeah. Or you've been separated for 6 months to a year. Those people need to be divorced, right? That all went away when the kinds of money you can make during a divorce. I said, if people don't want to be together, I'm cool with that. I'll just take that because those are cases that people actually have to pay you to do. Yes. I mean, if the person wants a divorce, I want $5,000 up front, and then we charge you $350 an hour. I can do these kinds of things. They're going to pay. You can send them a bill every month. And that's another thing I've been meant to talk about. The other bill people. Make sure you send people a bill. Because people aren't going to pay unless you send them a bill. You send them a bill, they'll pay. Well, you know that. You probably understand that, And so that's what you got to learn how to do. It's not a best part of our job, but I send out letters. Hey, hey, we've done this many hours this week and this month or whatever, and your bill now is X amount of dollars.
That's something that only business owners have to deal with, is sending an invoice and hoping that it gets paid. It's not always guaranteed. So what have you found? Is it, hey, I charging up an free retainer so it covers 90% of that? Or is it, I only work with people who are
Keep that question, because I do want to, finish up with telling you about the profitability of certain areas. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you that divorce is there, especially if a person has been served. That person has to pay, because if you don't, the other person will get everything they want, right? I don't do plaintiff's lawsuits. Now, plaintiff's lawsuits, now I'm not big enough for that. I don't want to cover. Plaintiff's lawsuits are people who do personal injury. You get injured, you go to an attorney, they give you a contingency agreement that says that I get 30% if we win, 33%. Well, you got to fund that case and then after you fund it, you may not win. So smaller businesses, I would be very gun shy about in this day and age with plaintiffs' lawsuits. Because personal injury is not looked at as it was. When I first got started, I did a lot of personal injury. You know why? Because you send a person a letter saying my person got hurt on your property, we'll take 50,000 and you might get 35. Now they pay attorneys, and I was doing a lot of that in Michigan. They pay attorneys to make you jump through all the hoops.
Wow.
Yeah. Send you depositions, send you interrogatories, do all the stuff to make this thing just drag out. Insurance companies are doing that today. You get hit by someone that the insurance should just pay you X amount of dollars. That person that fought, they will lowball you and that sends you anything. Matter of fact, insurance companies were hiring a lot of people from the public defender's office because they'd rather defend themselves than pay large settlements.
Now, what about there's car accident side, but there's also companies that, let's say a slip and fall.
Yeah.
Is there money in that, or do you say, hey, divorce?
All that stuff is plaintiffs' lawsuits.
Okay.
And I don't do plaintiffs' lawsuits. I'm a defense attorney. Now, if you come to me because someone's filed suit against you for something like that, I'm the guy. Because I'll send out interrogatories, I'll send out depositions. Because you know what? They're going to have to pay me $5,000-$6,000 up front, and plus pay my hourly. And then that's why you have to keep track of your hourly, because once that $5,000 is used up, then I start billing you.
Yeah.
So at this point, my practice is mostly strictly defense, because people will have to pay you to defend them.
Yeah.
And so you get that, and divorce is always good, but defense divorce is great work, because a plaintiff person has to do all the motions and push the case, because if they don't do anything, then it goes away.
So how are you finding these folks? Of course, if somebody said, hey, I'm divorcing Randall, I need somebody to represent me and my interests and my assets. But how do I know to call an individual like yourself? How can I call attorney Charles Ford? Why am I calling Charles Ford versus somebody else?
Well, and you've probably seen me at different functions, and people kind of understand why I'm the guy that talks to people. I take pictures of people. I'm the guy. If you look at my social media, I'm a promoter of myself right there. Everybody asks, why do you take all the pictures and stuff? Because people like that. Then they're seeing attorney Charles Ford. I put up a billboard as soon as I got licensed. Big, nice, electronic billboard. Attorney Charles, got a good picture, nice blue colors, because I'm a Sigma, so we got nice blue colors and blue and white, And I have thousands. I have business cards. My goal is to, at any event, to pass out 10, 12, 13 business cards. If I haven't passed out 500 business cards by the end of the month, I haven't done my job.
Wow.
And that's the only way that attorneys could really even advertise, was business cards. So I'm old school. I mean, I have a web page. Some people go to it, some people don't, but they see me. I try to have the personality, and I meet and I go to event after event. I go any place, and that's part of my job of advertising.
I don't think the average attorney thinks about that aspect, as far as I have to sell myself. Yeah. I can't just be a good practitioner. I have to actually create demand, have people trust me and become familiar with me. Speak a little bit on that journey. as for you yourself, was it natural for you? And also when you talk to younger attorneys, like how do you get them in that mindset to promote themselves?
Well, I have to, I've been trained to present and promote myself for years. I was always like captain of the basketball team, captain of the teams. I was always a student senator. I was always, even in law school, I was student senator, president of the Black Law Students Association. So that's kind of a natural thing. I want to be not leading just to be leading, but leading so I feel I can bring people along as well. And so I was always a good teammate. I was always a good teammate because I wanted other people to do well as well. And so, and I've been elected official. I mean, I was 34 years old, and I won my first time I ever ran. I ran for city council, and I was only the second African American elected city council. The first one was elected in '66 when you could vote for 3 or 4 people, right? I was in '89 when you only had to vote for me or the other person. And the other person was a white male, and I beat him by a landslide. Wow. Because I had a lot of stuff to present. I said experience counts. I mean, I was a sports star. I was I say star because people call me that because I've been inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is, that was really special to me because I'm in the same Hall of Fame with Magic Johnson and John Smoltz. And I just talked to John Smoltz and Matt the other day because John Smoltz he has his strikeout baseball thing. I was the attorney that did some of the contracting for that back in Michigan. But so I was always in that position, and I like going out to event, and I like meeting different people. Just like I didn't know when I found out you were Randy's son, Avery, your father. I was like, I see him at all the stepping events, and I'm just now knowing that he's Randy's son. I was like, man, I missed that. And then so you and I had a chance to talk a little bit. We had a chance to talk a little bit, and I appreciate learning a little bit more about you. And I think you had a book out or something. Don't you have a book out? And I think I bought that. I read, yeah, the financial, yeah. I'm doing advertising for you now. You should read it because I found some good points out in there. So, so that's kind of natural to me. I really want to meet. I'm a person who grew up thinking that he was not a good looking guy. Not that I'm great looking now, but I think I'm better looking than I thought, and then I had a bad stuttering problem. I mean, I was afraid to talk to people. Wow. And I had, luckily enough, my mother and a teacher, they finally said, you got to read books out loud. So I read book after book out loud during the summer. So I didn't let the summer go and do nothing. I was reading books. And then I finally got a chance. I read one book. I said, now I can read 2 books this summer, and 3 books and 4 self-help books, people who were millionaires, people who were downtrodden. So I think that all shaped me to be an attorney. At a young age, starting to do that. So I like to talk because at one point I was afraid to do that. And I like to take pictures because at one point I didn't take pictures, and I like to promote what I do. So I think Buddha said it best. I think, Buddha, he said, we're a conglomeration of everybody and everything we meet. So that's what I am. I mean, I've met great people. I've met people who have bad times. I've met people who are doing well. I've had people who I saw not as good before, but now they're great, And so when you get a chance to experience that, you learn from experience. I mean, I was met with a life-threatening illness. I didn't think I was going to be here at 69, And so when you go to Mayo Clinic, you go to Cleveland Clinic, you go to those places, and you see people who are just, got 6 months to live and all that. You have life, and so you got to go out and meet people. I mean, I want to promote Attorney Charles Ford because not so much so I can say I'm an attorney. I feel I can help you. One of my lines is, it does you no good to know an attorney and don't call them. A lot of times people who know me call me 6 or 7 months after they should have called me. They should have called me 6 months ago. Yeah. But then they go, well, Charles, I know you, and I didn't want you to know. I says, we're confidential employees. You know, you tell me something, I'll never talk to anybody. I don't talk to people like that. I talk about fun stuff, but I'm not going to talk about your stuff, you know. And so that's over years. You just got to develop that type of sense of attitude and wanting to help people. And if people can see that in you, it'll probably be your client.
So one of my missions of doing this, Practice Prosperity, is to help practices grow. What have you seen help practices reach a size in which when the founder steps down, it potentially could go on after them? So what steps have you seen practices do so that the practice can live beyond the owner?
Oh, mentorship to the nth degree. The law firm I worked for was called the Abood Law Firm. Now, when I first heard of this law firm, it was called Abood and Ream. Now, Fred Abood and Camille Abood were two Lebanese lawyers. They were Lebanese, couldn't get a job because, you know, Lebanese almost looks kind of black, you know. They couldn't get a job in Lansing, Michigan. So they started their own law firm. And then they hired the guy named Ream, and they were Abood and Ream, and then they became one of the biggest law firms in the area, well-known law firm. Matter of fact, that when the governor went through a divorce, they represented the wife. You know, that's how. But Fred Abood was a great guy, great guy. He had 10 kids. 7 of them are attorneys, and that's the Aboods I worked with. I worked with Fred. He was a, you know, the managing. He was a partner, owner, whatever he was. But I worked with 3 of his 4 of his children. 3 of them went to law school with me, and another one I didn't go to law school with, but he went to the same law. He was after us, and they were the best attorneys I've ever met. Wow. I mean, the best attorneys that I've ever met. I mean, Andrew Abood, he's got this little Al Pacino thing going on for him, but he and I did our first murder case, and in 6 days we got not guilty. I mean, he's just a great attorney. But, you know, I talked to him about, man, why'd you want to be a man? I said, I worked in my dad's law practice when I was in middle school, high school, elementary, you know, then I'm working there when I'm going to law school and everything. And then when he got his license, I mean, it was just, you know, and Fred Abood passed away when I was working there. Yeah. But Andrew Abood and Joe Abood were 2 of the best attorneys I've ever met. Mentorship. They saw how their father did it. They would hire 5 or 6 attorneys, have 40 other people working there. I mean, when I was an attorney there, I had about 10, 12 people. I do the intake on a case. I wouldn't see that case again until I went to trial, to court rather, because they did all the other work. And people said, "Well, how much money?" I said, I was a $25,000 to $40,000 a month attorney for them back in 2003 and 4. That's when I realized I can go on my own. I was making a lot of money for the firm. So that's kind of tells you what you need to continue. Just like you, if you want your business, you got to have someone that you're mentoring to. If that business is going to grow into the future, only way is to have somebody that's there. You know, I have 4 attorneys that all passed the bar. They did internships with me. All of them, I sent them to the prosecutor's office. They all got jobs working for the prosecutor after they left me. I showed you how to be a defense attorney. Now you need to learn the other side. Yeah. So that's mentoring. So then one of them, I said, you should run for office. And now he's got the city council seat that I had. You know, and he's calling me, said, Charles, I really need what should I do to do this? No, I'm telling him how, because I've experienced being on the city council. I spent 4 years on the city council and almost 7 years on the school board. I left the school board to come down here. So you got to mentor people. You know, that's the only way, and that goes for businesses and big conglomerates. You know, most of the successful businesses are family owned. You know that. I don't have to tell you that. It's in your book. You know, I mean, it's family owned. So because that means that they're mentoring the next group of people. Then that group is going to mentor the next group. So if you want to sustain, you know, I really wanted one of my kids to really want to be an attorney. Mm-hmm. You know, it didn't happen, you know, but you know, they got full ride scholarship football, you know, basketball, you know, that's cool, you know. But I think the problem with them was they saw me go through law school when they were young. And they were like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But, and not to be, you know, we got to do more of it in the Black community. I'm telling you that right now. You know,
so
and